Deonté, author of Tripping Over Canvases, How to Open Your Own Art Gallery with No Experience, and art director here at Above Art Studios, located at 55 Moore Street, downtown New Brunswick, New Jersey.
And then, like I said, going back to what I was saying earlier, do it in your field too. Like if you want to be an actor, if you want to be a visual artist, get into the rooms that that are making the decisions in that field. Like I'm not going to, like you said, I'm not going to go to a dance company necessarily and try to get in the door there as an actor, because it's not going to benefit me as much as, like, I work in theater. I know the producers, I know some of the directors, I know the people making the decisions that I build relationship and connection with and talk to, so they know me. And not only do they know you, but they trust you and they see your work ethic, then they're going to call you. So be specific to what you want to do too. Like, that's very important that I don't think people get as much.
Yeah, no, I don't think they do either. And I know me personally, the only reason I got it is the first poet that I had worked with, asked me, what can I do specifically for poets? And had I worked with any other poets, and at the time I hadn't. So it made me really realize, like, all right, this is not as cookie cutter as I would like it to be. Of course, obviously you got some general things that I guess you have to do across the board, in establishing yourself, CVs, different things like that, basic stuff. But beyond that, there's different steps you're going to be taking, in each field. So that definitely was a wake up to me. Like, oh yeah, you know what? Yeah, I guess I would have to do this a little different than if you were a painter, or if you wrote books or anything like that. So so that was definitely enlightening for me. So now, because of things like your own platforms and social media and stuff like that, it's a little simpler, I guess, to be self-sufficient in sales, as long as you're doing the proper marketing and funneling and all those things. But I don't know what's right. I was about to say. Relax that.
Okay.
Two more questions. I know my last one. What was this one? All right.
Find a new one.
Yeah. So it's not as easy for artists to get into traditional platforms, to join a stage company and be a star, to get into any established galleries. So would you recommend that more artists look into or learn the administrative side?
Definitely. Any artist I've ever talked to, I tell them, even if you are not ever going to work in a company, any kind of producing capacity, at least know a general idea of what happens behind the scene. I found that when I'm an actor, when I come into the rehearsal room before we ever get on stage, if I know how the systems of the room works and who reports to who and who kind of has say-so over other things, I can navigate myself better if I know the other players in the room. It's like acting. You have to know the people you're on stage with. You have to know, what is being presented. So I have to know everything of, like, okay, this person reports to this person, but the producer is going to have final say, and then there's the funders who are contributing income to the project too. So, like, you just have to know all of that, because it makes it easier for yourself to navigate, like, okay, where do I land in all of this? And how do I show up and navigate and do my best work too, when I know how all the other people, at least a general idea of how they should be operating and what they should be doing. So I always tell people, if you can know the business more than just your craft, you're golden.
And so for the people who, even at their school age didn't go, or the people that are already out of school, I'm sure there's less internship opportunities. What would be a suggestion you would give somebody to break into the industry?
Well, we were saying networking, building that connection, building those people that you can call, text, send a message to on social media and be like, hey, I have a question at least. You know, and the beauty of the industry is just that people create their own paths and, you know, create their own ways and how they get to what they label as success. So the good thing is like there's no one way of doing it. Like I don't have to just go to school and get an internship, get an entry-level job and work my way up the totem pole. You know, some people are going to school for acting and some people are going to school for management and then switching courses, you know. So I think just to stay fluid and be able to be adaptable to, like, that's really important, of being able to just like, okay, these are the cards that have been dealt to me, what can I do with them? So I definitely think like find and do your research too. Do your research on who is out here doing similar things that you want to do and how did they get to where they are. You know, so if I can pull something from this person and pull something from this person and kind of build my own plan, I'm kind of set because it's for me. Like I can't go based on the route that somebody else took. Yeah, there might be somebody who's done something similar, but I have to make what I want to do specific to me and how I want to get there.
I like that. Yeah. Bars.
Period.
like that. So where do you see yourself 5 years from now?
Ooh, 5 years. Well, you know, I'm in grad school right now. So in 5 years, having graduated.
And you're going to school for arts administration now, after you already became an arts administrator.
After I've already been in the field,
That's awesome.
you know, building a little bit of a reputation for myself, yeah, I still decided to go and get my master's in what I'm doing because I wanted to be known as credible in my field. I wanted people to know that like, this isn't just what I'm playing around with. Like I am serious about the work that I do. But in 5 years, I actually see myself putting arts administration on the back burner so I can be a full-time creative and artist and actor and all the things. You know, I might do some stuff here and there, but in 5 years, I want to be able to say, I'm good on this for a minute, let me go and try something different.
Yeah, I envision you actually putting on your own productions and everything, so you're using, you know, both all your talent, your resources to find, you know, the people that's going to help you, you know, build the team, and the administrative side to where you know where to get additional funding if you need it, you know, venues, you know, like I really see you putting all that together, but to where you're on the type to where you're like a Tyler Perry and you're running that production because you know what it takes to go into that. So, so I definitely really see that. You know, just make sure I get a nice little role in there, something like that. You know, preferably a sex scene. Throw one of those in there. You know,
I'll see what I can do.
On that early '90s Wesley Snipes contract.
Gotcha.
You know.
But also, I see myself in 5 years being able to invest back into other creatives and other artists, particularly artists of color, and giving them resources and nuggets that I picked up along my way. Like, that's super important to me. Like, in 5 years, I want to be the person that people call to say, I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z, how do I do it? And we can figure out, strategize and come up with a plan for them.
And so speaking of that, so you are, I don't even know what's the exact title in there, but you're basically running New Jersey Arts Administrators of Color.
I am, yes.
Right.
I don't think I really have a title.
I don't
have one.
I know you're the boss, so I just call you F.A. That's it. I don't know.
I'm really not the boss.
It's nothing moving unless you move.
Yeah.
That sound to me like the boss. You move, all right, that's how we moving, and everybody else move with you because you're moving. It's natural leadership stuff. You know what I mean? And you're leading leaders, which means something. It says something. Like leaders wouldn't follow unless someone is worthy of leading them. So I definitely appreciate you allowing me to be a part of New Jersey Art Administrators of Color. But why do you think it's important for this organization to exist?
Well, I first want to say I'm grateful for you two of even being a part of the project, a part of the network, and serving in the capacity that you
Looks
do.
good on the resume, man.
It is, and you know, but it's more than that. Like, I knew when I set out to build this network that I wanted to connect with people who I didn't know, and people who were doing the work and doing great things within their respective communities, and how do we all come around the table to build together. And if you remember, like the first time I met you, you told me from the jump, like, how do I be a part of this? And that's what I want him, because it took initiative. It took people, you know, I love when people can be like, I want to support what you're doing. And the mere fact that you approached me with that, I was like, yes, we're going to do it. But it's important that it exists because, you know, like I said, I came into this industry, and when I looked around, I was like, well, where are the people that look like me? There's nobody making the decisions, calling the shots that looks like me. But I know these people are here. Like, where are they at? They're sprinkled somewhere. But how do we create a centralized place for them to come and connect and work together and build together? Because we're kind of like, especially in New Jersey, you know, we're a small state, but we're really spread out. And people work in silos. They have, you know, stuff going on behind the scenes in their own areas. But how do we have communication with one another? So it's really important, I think, that people know that there's other people out here doing the work too. There's people who look like you, and for people who don't necessarily look like us, to know that these people exist and that they are qualified, that they have skills, that they, you know, have all the talents that you have as well. They just don't have the platform or the opportunity to get in the door. So how do we create opportunities? How do we build platforms to showcase all of the expertise and knowledge and wealth that we have?
Well spoken, well spoken.
Thank you.
This was Deonté Griffin-Quick with New Jersey Theater Alliance and New Jersey Art Administrators of Color. It's been a wonderful interview. Thank you for coming. Good sir.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.